What's up, party people? Happy New Year's Eve, and welcome to STONIECAST number 194 and season 6, episode 20 of Thoughts and Hunches, Making Money in Bunches, and Sucker Punches. It's your boy Stony coming back at you for the 194th time, and I'd like to welcome all of my fellow criminals, lowlifes, hoodlums, scumbags, shady characters, fugitives from justice, heathens, scoundrels, altar boys with unhealthy relationships with their priests, wise guys, hustlers, hooligans, foul-mouthed raging alcoholics, MLB players that have got into a fight with Bryce Harper. You know who you are, and thanks for watching, by the way. Cheats, gangsters, fienders with abusive language, degenerates. Let's face it, anybody with a massive gambling problem. If you're new to the show, hey, congratulations. That means you probably fit into one or a few of those categories, so welcome, because you're now one of us. One of us, one of us, one of us, gooba gabba, one of us. We accept him, one of us. Know the reference, that's all I can tell you. Hey, make sure to hit the subscribe button right down here in the lower right-hand corner. Ring that bell. That way you can get notified every time I put out a new video. To spread the word is also very easy. Just tell other degenerates, fienders, and scumbags you know, kind of like Tree, to go to YouTube and enter Thoughts and Hunches right in the search bar. That'll take you to my page, and you can get dialed into everything that I drop on you. Also, if you're new and you don't know what's what with this channel, it's college and pro football winners, MLB playoff winners, which is over, college basketball winners, and, I just give you picks. That's what I do. I give you picks and nothing else. I don't get no player props and absolutely no parlays. Why? Because I don't like giving my money away, right? I like my money right here, right where it belongs. I don't like handing it over for some idiot parlay. If you hit parlays, good. I'm rooting for you, but you ain't gonna, right? Now, I'm an outlier and I'm a disruptor. I'm like the Beastie Boys. I disrupt. That's what I do.
Step inside the party, disrupt the whole scene.
The books, they don't expect a guy like me to deliver this many winners. That's what I do. I go to the mattresses and get the info for you every single week in order to get you to the window with a ticket to cash. Now, before I get to the picks, as usual, I have some thoughts.
Give me all you got. Listen, give me all you got.
Never gets old, does it? I want to start with everyone's favorite topic over the last month, and that's my boy Lane Kiffin. During the Texas Bowl that LSU was losing, like I told you they would, he was in the broadcast booth for about 10 to 15 minutes in the third quarter, and what he said was telling. He spoke about not necessarily talking to lots of players nowadays and only dealing with agents. In his words, hey, that's the world we live in now. Over the last few years, we've seen Nick Saban, Mike Krzyzewski, Roy Williams, Tony Bennett, Chip Kelly, and others step away just because of this. Coaches want to coach, not deal with agents. The Wild Wild West has made it so that the coaches are just dealing with agents now. I give mad props to not only Kiffin for speaking out on it, but to the old school coaches that are still around. Kirk Ferentz, Troy Calhoun, even Kyle Whittingham. And in basketball, Tom Izzo, Mark Few, Randy Bennett, Rick Pitino, John Calipari, just to name a few, right, that have stuck around in this crazy Wild West philosophy where the players have all the power, right? Even my other boy, John Calipari, made a statement just 2 days ago, where he went off on the current state of college athletics about how much power the players have to saying, and I'm paraphrasing here, the NCAA just granted permission to a player for his 8th year of eligibility, right? I mean, a 26-year-old playing against an 18-year-old. That just makes no sense, right? Players can declare for the draft, and if they don't get drafted, they can return to college. Pretty soon, there's going to be an NBA player who's riding the bench and not making any money, and he's going to want to go back to college and make more money so he can play. And who's going to stop him? The NCAA has no rules. And that's what they need. Touchdown Duke. Right on. Needed that. Iowa's kneeling on it. Iowa's going to win. But I did hit the over. Duke is... Anyway, sorry. I'll get to all that. But what I'm saying is, any coach in football or basketball that sticks around for more than 15 or 20 years, they've got my utmost respect, right? And Kiffin is a new wave of younger coaches that is adapting to it. Now, speaking of college football, in the last few years, we've had the Jimmy Kimmel Bowl, the LA Bowl hosted by Gronk, and now the Arizona Bowl, or the Snoop Dogg Arizona Bowl, sponsored by Snoop and Dre's Gin and Juice. I mean, since I've been so hot in bowl games this season, it's been brought to my attention that there's a ground movement that a Stony Bowl needs to happen. That's the next step. I mean, at the end of every Stoniecast, the words, "There's money on the streets that can't be ignored," are uttered by yours truly. But pretty soon it will be, "There's rumors on the street that can't be denied or ignored." Rumors. Now, as for the bowl games that have been going on, bad beats, they give and they take away. For every bad beat, there's a good beat that benefits you. And what fascinates me is the average football fan fell in love with the Seahawks-Rams game last week and the 49ers-Bears game. But they hated the Miami-Texas game, Texas A&M, which I thought was one of the best games I've ever seen. Now, granted, I lost because I had A&M, but those defenses were unbelievable to a point where one play could decide the game, and it's just awesome. It can't be beaten when it comes down to that. It's like watching a 1-0 pitcher's duel in the NLCS. Now, those games are incredible, right? At halftime of the Miami and A&M game, Twitter was irate. They were calling it the most boring game they've ever seen, as it was scoreless at halftime. Those aren't fans. Those are morons and trolls and the same idiots that loved the 49ers-Bears game on Monday night where there was no defense at all. I said it 2 weeks ago, and I'll say it again. Give me 17-13 every day versus 49-45. Nebraska and Utah just kicked off without Kyle Whittingham. Games are just... Dave Fleming and Brock Osweiler, the Flem man, doing the bowl games. Gotta love Dave Fleming. Finally, a massive shout-out goes out to Derrick Henry. When I moved to Nashville 8 years ago, King Henry was just coming into his own. And 8 1,000-yard seasons later, he's not only a lock to be a first-ballot Hall of Famer, but he's quickly becoming the best running back of this generation. Last Saturday night, I bet against the Ravens and lost. But I found myself rooting for King Henry to put on a show, and boy, did he ever. Every time someone tries to stick a fork in his career, he just continues to deliver at an incredibly high rate. He really is a joy to watch, right? No flashiness, no celebrations, no first down signals, no spinning the ball, none of that bullshit. Just a respectful ball player who plays the game and lives his life the right way. He's a god in Nashville. And I still can't figure out why the Titans ever let him walk. Word of advice to all sports teams. Don't ever get rid of the best player in the history of your franchise. Eventually, they will come back to haunt you. While he isn't haunting the Titans, he's just adding on to his ridiculous resume every time he touches the ball. I've been saying this for years, and I must repeat it. If you want to get a laugh, Google Derrick Henry's high school statistics. They're absolutely out of control. They're literally video game numbers. How can one person do that? Anyway, mad love to King Henry, as I urge you all to watch him as much as you can now while he's still going, and appreciate the greatness. Now, as for the week that was, with a slow week in college hoops, I delivered a massive 8-2 on Sunday. And even after a disappointing Monday, I still finished the week 16-9 in hoops, which I'll gladly take. College bowl week, I was sitting at 7-7 heading into the weekend, and then I just put it in overdrive. 10-6 on Saturday, 2-0 on Monday, made a solid 19-13 week. And then there was the NFL. 2-1 on Christmas Day, Thursday. 1-1 on Saturday was nice. But then, just like bowl week, I delivered the knockout punch. 9-4 on Sunday and a win on Monday night. Gave me 13-6 to put a bow on a truly massive week. One of my 3 best weeks of the year. Now, let's take a peek at those numbers. Last week, 48 wins, 25 losses. 65.75%, just huge. NCAA football postseason bowl action, right? But this also includes conference championships. 47 wins, 27 losses. 63.51%. I mean, come on. You know, the large is truly in effect right now, all right, Tree? NFL for the season, 160 wins, 114 losses, 3 pushes, 58.39% with only 1 week left in the regular season. I don't think I'll get to 59, but hey, 58, please. Every single year I'll take that. NCAA basketball for the season, 235 wins, 171 losses, 1 push, 57.88%. Numbers are still up, rising. Degenerate special for the season, 15 wins, 9 losses, 62.5% after hitting both sides of last week's late night get right. Thursday night, 22 wins, 13 losses, 62.86%. That's as good as it gets. Sunday night, 12 wins, 7 losses, 1 push, 63.16%. Huge. Monday night, the last Monday night game of the season just happened. 10 wins, 12 losses, 45.45%. 2 straight Monday night wins, closes out the season, right? At least a little closer to 500, right? After I lost 7 in a row at one point. So anyway, oh my goodness, look at this. Damn, that didn't take long. Touchdown, Nebraska. You just got to hope Utah doesn't roll over without Whittingham today, even though I took Utah and laid a massive number. Touchdown, Nebraska, 4 minutes in. And touchdown, Arizona State, 21 all. It looks like they're heading to half. Anyway, okay. Overall, for the season, all 19 episodes, every single pick that I've given you this season, 700 wins exactly, 496 losses, and 11 pushes. 58.53% for the season, and that can mean only one thing.
Truth? Wow, winning.
I mean, yeah, that's a boy, Charlie. You tell us. Once again, please remember that all of these picks are 100% free. So for all the touts out there that are charging you for picks and giving you 75 to 80% winners documented, guaranteed, come on, stop. We all know you're full of shit. Plus, you're charging for these picks.
Oh!
I mean, how does that happen? With me, it's very simple. Just come to YouTube every single week, and I'll drop my plays on you for free. Plus, I want you all to know that these are all bets that I'm personally going to make with my own money. So I'm not just throwing darts at a dartboard and blindly picking random games. All right, let's do this. Away we go. Episode number 20.
Just win, baby.
Attaboy, Al. You let them know. The new week began yesterday, and it was kind of all over the place. I wound up 6-7 in hoops. Not a good start. But 4-2 in bowl games after I hit all 3 sides, but then went 1-2 on totals based on the fact that I bet all 3 games to go over. Forgive my language, but fuck overs. Unders cash. Now, granted, I did hit the over in this Vanderbilt-Iowa game, but unders are the way to go. I'll take an occasional over, but when it doesn't, there's nothing worse than when you take the under, or you take the over, and it's 13-10 at halftime, and you got to get to 58. Nah, that shit just ain't happening. Now, I gave a bunch of NCAA hoops picks for the day games earlier today in the comments section of STONIECAST 193 this morning. But there are more games going on right now. I'm watching Syracuse and Clemson. So anyway, there's games going on. Let's hit the rest of the college hoops right now. All right, for the later games tonight that I didn't already put in the comment section. 5 Eastern on Peacock at the Cintas Center in the Queen City. I like 4th-ranked Connecticut on the road, laying 11.5 at Xavier. 6 Eastern on FS1 in Stoniecastas. I'm on DePaul, catching 12.5 at Villanova. 7 Eastern, give me NC Wilmington laying 12 at home over Drexel. And lastly, at 8 Eastern on FS1 in our nation's capital, I'll roll with Georgetown at home, plus 9.5 versus St. John's. So that's 4 more plays to add to the 9 I already gave you, giving us another 13-play Wednesday to close out the year. With the Las Vegas Bowl and all these other, the Sun Bowl, there's multiple bowls going on right now. Let's move on to tonight's first college football quarterfinal game. And it's the Cotton Bowl at 7:30 Eastern on ESPN at Jerry World in Arlington. 3rd-ranked Ohio State's a 9.5-point chalk over number 10 Miami, and the total set at 41.5. Heading into this game, the narrative will be about the 2003 Fiesta Bowl when Ohio State beat Miami to stop the Canes dynasty, and it shouldn't be. Most of the players in this game weren't even born when that one was played. Going into this one, Ohio State was the nation's top-ranked team all season long, basically, right? Until they lost to Indiana in the Big Ten championship game last month. The Buckeyes, they've had a while to stew over their loss, their only loss of the season, and they're massive favorites in this one. Now, Miami, on the other hand, they dealt with the doubt of them whether or not they belong in the CFP by going into College Station and knocking off Texas A&M a week and a half ago to punch their ticket to their second straight game in the state of Texas. Now, there's no regional favorite for either side, and ticket prices have plummeted for this game, right? The get-in price right now is only $80, making this a why-not game for football fans living in the Metroplex. I mean, shit, if I live there, $80 can get me into a college football quarterfinal game, I'd be all over that. 2 of the nation's best defenses try to get past 2 of the nation's best offensive lines. Great tackling and open spaces by both teams is going to decide this game. Don't expect a shootout against these defenses. Miami has the edge in rushing, while OSU has the edge at quarterback and wide receiver. When it comes down to it, I prefer Julian Sayin throwing the ball away to Carson Beck forcing it and ultimately turning the ball over. And Carson Beck averages 5 yards per pass in the air. That's the 3rd lowest in the nation. There are certain... When it comes down to it, Carson Beck can shut up a lot of doubters, including me and a certain someone who lives in Davie, Florida, if he has a great performance right here and knocks off Ohio State. Miami's defense is elite, but I believe Ohio State, their defense is just better, right? And they face much better competition than Miami has. Now, with that being said, though, Ohio State is who the public likes. And as much hell as I've given Miami this season, I still think they'll lose here and end their season. But I do like the Canes catching 9 and a hook and under 41.5 as that number continues to drop. The first game of 2026 is tomorrow's Orange Bowl at noon Eastern on ESPN at Hardcock Stadium in Bienvenidos a Miami. 5th-ranked Oregon's a 2.5-point favorite versus number 4 Texas Tech. Then the total's 52.5 in what I think is the most intriguing matchup of the quarterfinal round. Despite their only loss this season coming at the hands of top-ranked Indiana, Oregon missed out on a shot at the Big Ten title game by a tiebreaker, and they settled for a first-round game versus James Madison 11 days ago, in which the Ducks cruised, but they got backdoored by the Dukes. Tech comes in as Big 12 champs, with only one loss to Arizona State a couple months ago when the Red Raiders were missing their starting quarterback. Now, Oregon, they're going to run the ball. This much we know. It's in Dan Lanning's DNA. Quarterback Dante Moore is excellent and does a lot of damage with his legs as well. Texas Tech, for the first time in my life, they're built on defense, and it's one of the nation's best, with a brutal front four and the best linebackers in the nation. But don't sleep on the Raiders' offense, especially when they average 42 per. That means they're doing something right. Baron Morton had a massive year running Tech's offense, but it's still the defense that delivers the most for this team. I like Dante Moore, and I really like Dan Lanning. But if you know me, you know I prefer the better defense all day. So give me Texas Tech with the 2.5 and a little sprinkle on the money line. Hang on in just a second. I don't have that. I don't have the soundbite, but give me Texas Tech with a sprinkle on the money line. No soundbite today for E40. Tomorrow, 4 Eastern on ESPN, under the San Gabriel Mountains of Pasadena, top-ranked Indiana is a 7-point road favorite versus number 11 Alabama, and the total's 49 in the granddaddy of them all, the Rose Bowl. Yeah, you heard that correctly. And no, this is not basketball. Indiana is favored over Alabama in football. Just stop for a second, let that sink in. Hoosier Daddy has proven their mettle by winning the Big Ten championship with a top-notch defense and a timely offense led by Heisman Trophy winning quarterback Francisco Mendoza. Alabama started their season with a loss to Florida State, added another at home to Oklahoma in November, and were blown out by Georgia in the SEC title game. But they avenged their loss to OU by taking them out 12 days ago in the first round of the CFP. Bama's tough, but they're overlooked, and now they face their biggest test of the season. Kirk Cignetti versus Kalen DeBoer is a great coaching matchup, as is Mendoza versus Alabama's Ty Simpson at quarterback. Indiana has the clear edge on both sides of the ball, as well as recency bias from the betting public. Everyone remembers the Hoosiers taking out Ohio State and Alabama getting boat raced by Georgia. This line is begging the bettors to take Alabama. The beasts of college football as a touchdown dog, and I will. Because again, I'll go against the public and roll with Alabama, catching the touchdown and under 47 and a chunk. Duke, touchdown right before the half. Right on. Utah scored a touchdown to tie that game at 7. We're going back and forth. Clemson and Syracuse are in a battle here, and hoops. I love it. Okay, the last college football playoff matchup is also tomorrow at 8 Eastern on ESPN at the Superdome in the Big Easy. Second-ranked Georgia is a 6.5-point favorite versus number 6 Mississippi, and the total's listed at 55.5 in the Sugar Bowl. On October 18th, between the hedges in Athens, Georgia came from behind in the fourth quarter to hand Ole Miss their only loss of the season. Georgia proceeded to run the table and win the SEC title game handily over Alabama. These games are a pattern for Kirby Smart and Georgia, as they've been in the running for a national title for the best part of the last decade. Quarterback Gunnar Stockton is a lot like the Bulldog defense. They've gotten better as the season has worn on. Ole Miss ran the table after that loss to UGA, but the drama surrounding Lane Kiffin's exit to Baton Rouge still weighs heavily on what is still a very dangerous team. Quarterback Trinidad Chambliss took over in Week 4 and has been unbelievable, leading the Rebels' offense, but it's the other side of the ball that worries me if I were chanting hotty toddy. Former defensive coordinator Pete Golding is now the new head coach, and he led Ole Miss to a blowout win over Tulane in the first round a week and a half ago. I like Golding, and I think he'll do fine in Oxford. But Kirby Smart and his defense will be too much to handle as Georgia advances to the national semifinals, because I'm not sold on the Ole Miss defense, and Georgia should be able to run the ball at will here. But with that being said, the public is obviously all over Georgia, so I'll make it all 4 dogs in the quarters and ride with Ole Miss to make this one a good one. Possibly even through the back door. Is that possible? But in order to get through the back door, you need to be hanging around and have alligator blood.
Hanging around. Kids got alligator blood.
Something like that. That's what it sounds like. Now, after the quarterfinals of the CFP, we have 4 more bowl games that get going on Friday. And the first one goes at 1 Eastern on ESPN at Amon G. Carter Stadium in Fort Worth. 6-6 Texas State's a 13.5-point favorite versus 5-7 Rice, and the total's listed at 58.5 in the Armed Forces Bowl. Texas State won their last 3 games to finish tied for 5th in the Sun Belt West, but it got them to 6 wins to become bowl eligible. Rice lost 3 of their last 4 and finished in a tie for 9th in the American Athletic, but with 3 teams declining invites to a bowl game, the 5-7 Owls become another unworthy team to make a bowl, and this one will get ugly. Texas State minus 15.5, huge, and under 58.5. That number opened at 12.5, and it's been bet up 3 points to 15.5. Friday, 4:30 Eastern on ESPN at Liberty Stadium in the home of the Blues of Memphis. 22nd ranked Navy is a 7-point favorite versus 7-5 Cincinnati, and the total's 54.5 in the Liberty Bowl. Navy has a shot at only their 3rd 11-win season ever, led by quarterback Blake Horvath, who has combined for 2,400 yards tossing it and running it to go along with 27 combined touchdowns. Since he won 7, they lost their first game, then they won 7 in a row before dropping their last 4. As they went from averaging 38 points per game to less than 20 in their last 4. Since he has a slight edge in defense, but their rush defense leaves a lot to be desired, and Navy runs it all day, every day, and the middies get it done here. So I'm going to lay the touchdown with the middies and take over 54.5. Friday, 8 Eastern on ESPN at Bank of America Stadium in Charlotte. 5-7 Mississippi State's a 3-point favorite versus 8-4 Wake Forest, and the total's 53.5 in the Duke's Mayo Bowl. Mississippi State lost 4 of their last 5 to close out a season that started with a lot of promise as the Dog faced 4 ranked teams down the stretch in that brutal SEC. Wake had a good season in the ACC, but after Superback Damon Claiborne declared for the NFL draft, 3 other starters enter the portal, leaving the Deacons shorthanded. So yes, I'll take the 5-7 Bulldogs here, laying the field goal and under 53.5. And finally, Friday's nightcap goes at 8 Eastern on Big Fox at Snapdragon Stadium in San Diego. 21st ranked Arizona's a 1.5-point favorite over 8-4 Southern Methodist, and the total's 53 in the Holiday Bowl. Arizona finished their regular season campaign by winning their last 5 games to finish in a tie for 4th in the Big 12. SMU missed out on a shot for the college football playoff by dropping their last game to Cal and finished in that crazy 5-way tie for 2nd in the ACC. With no opt-outs, hang on. Damn, 49 points. Duke 28-21. Wow, 49 points at halftime. Oh, man. That's just out of control. Neither team on neither one of these teams has any opt-outs, right? SMU, Arizona, most of the teams is in place, not counting injuries, right? Now, we also have a solid quarterback matchup right here. SMU's Kevin Jennings and Arizona's Noah Fafita are going to get after it. And they both can run, and they're both have rocket arms. I'm going to go with the superior defense, so I'm going to take the Cats here. I'm going to lay the 1.5 while staying under 53 in the final bowl game before the final 3 games of the CFP in another week and a half. I guess that's it. Am I finished?
No, I'm just getting warmed up.
Yeah, that's what it is. You tell him. Lieutenant Colonel Frank Slade. Saturday, the final week of the NFL season gets going at 4:30 Eastern on ABC at the Sombrero in Tampa, where the 7-9 Buccaneers are 2.5-point home favorites versus 8-8 Carolina. The total's 44. Tampa's lost 7 of 8, and somehow they're favored in this one despite being just terrible. There's some crazy shit going on right now with the possibility of a 3-way tie if the Bucs win and the Falcons beat the Saints on Sunday. The Bucs can win and still lose the division if Atlanta beats New Orleans. So it doesn't matter what Carolina does. If Atlanta beats New Orleans, Carolina's in. It won't matter, though, because the Panthers have flip-flopped wins and losses for the last 8 weeks, and they lost last week. So they'll win again this week, and then they'll lose at home next week, probably to the Rams in the wild card. Carolina, +2 and a chunk on the road with a little sprinkle there on the money line. The biggest game of the weekend, it goes at Saturday night and this week's Degenerate special. 8 Eastern on ABC at 501 Denim Jeans Stadium in the Silicon Valley. 13-3 Seattle's a 1-point road chalk at the 12-4 49ers, and the total's 49. This one's for all the marbles, as the winner gets the NFC's top seed. And the loser goes to Carolina next week in the wild card round, probably, after the Panthers beat the Bucs. The Niner offense is on another level right now. But their defense is truly awful. And they've been picked apart in 3 straight games now, despite the fact they've won 6 in a row, all of them by double digits, and covered all 6. Seattle has also won 6 in a row, but they boast an elite defense and a balanced offense. The look-ahead line before Sunday night's 49er win over Chicago was SF -4.5. But the wise guys know better. They saw that, they pounced, and the line got bet all the way down to 1. Seattle is and has been the better team all season long. Seahawks win and get next week off. Seattle -1. Sunday's filled with meaningless games and even more meaningless playoff-bound teams with nothing to play for. The first one is at 1 Eastern on CBS at NRG Stadium in H-Town, where the 11-5 Texans are 10-point home favorites versus 8-8 Indianapolis, and the total's listed at 39. Houston's won 8 in a row, and they haven't lost since November 2nd, while the Colts have lost 6 straight, and they just benched their grandpa quarterback. A win for Houston and a Titans win over Jacksonville means the Texans can steal the AFC South. Since that ain't going to happen, though, Houston gets the AFC's 6th seed. So I'm going to take the Colts and the points, which is because 10's just too many points. 1 Eastern on Fox at Everbank Stadium in Duval County. The 12-4 Jaguars are 13-point home favorites over 3-13 Tennessee, and the total is 47.5. Jacksonville is in, and they have a shot at the top seed in the AFC with a win, and the Broncos and Patriots both to lose. Since that's out, that's not going to happen. All they need to do is win this game, and they'll take the AFC South crown. Tennessee's played well in the last month, despite being truly awful. But are 13 too many, though? I say yeah. Jags win, but Tennessee cashes. Give me that candy. 28-24 at half. 52 points at halftime on a game that I bet the under. Jesus, right after I just went on a rant about them. This is just, it's crazy. 1 Eastern. Where was I? 1 Eastern on Fox at Snoopyville in New Jersey. 7-8-1 in Dallas is a 3.5-point road favorite at the 3-13 Giants, and the total's 51.5. Both teams are toast, and there's nothing to play for, except for bragging rights in a pretty heated rivalry. Giants are really bad. Cowboys -3 and a hook. 1 Eastern on CBS at the Bank in Stoniepascus. The 8-8 Vikings are 7-point home favorites versus 9-6-1 Green Bay, and the total's 35.5. The Packers are locked into the number 7 seed in the NFC, and Minnesota's won 4 meaningless games in a row. Whether J.J. McCarthy plays or not for Minnesota is irrelevant because Jordan Love is still out for Green Bay. Welcome to the Max Brosmer versus Malik Willis show. Like Brosmer, I mean, I prefer Brosmer. I do. Sorry. And, well, the Vikings defense. Vikings -7 in a meaningless game for the Pack. 1 Eastern on CBS at the Jungle in the Queen City. The 6-10 Bengals are 7.5-point home favorites versus 4-12 Cleveland, and the total set at 44.5. Another meaningless game in lost seasons for both the Doo-Doo Browns and the Bungles, as the only real story in this one is Myles Garrett's pursuit of the single-season sack record. Shadur Sanders versus Joe Burrow? That's a tough one. Really? Bengals, -7 and a chunk. 1 Eastern on Fox at the Benzo in Hot Town. 7-9 Falcons are 3.5-point home favorites versus 6-10 Nolans, and the total is 43.5. In this crazy world that we live in, the Falcons have won 3 in a row, and the Saints have won 4 in a row. I did not think that the Saints were going to win 3 games all season. I mean, let alone 4 in a row and 6 for the season. I just can't figure it out. Atlanta, though, they seem like they're operating right now on a whole different level because Kirk Cousins has got it rolling.
You like that? You like that?
Kirk Cousins, my man. It seems like Cousins is playing for a job next year, whether it's in Atlanta or whether it's somewhere else. We don't know. But the Falcons -3.5 is the play as Carolina wins the NFC South. Sunday, 4:25 Eastern on CBS at the Link in Stoniecastas. The 11-5 Eagles are 4-point home chalk over 4-12 Washington, and the total is 41. Philly can't finish lower than the 3 seed in the NFC, but they can get to the 2 if they win and the Lions beat the Bears. Washington's truly awful. The Eagles have quietly won 3 in a row, and nobody talks about that. They only talk about it when they win, or when they lose. But they have won 3 in a row, including an 11-point win in our nation's capital just 2 weeks ago. I can't take the Commando Skins at all under any circumstances. Philly -4. What the hell's going on here? Last play of the half. Why is everybody going nuts? Oh, it's an interception. And then he got, oh, God, okay. I don't understand what the big celebration was, but that's the end of the half. Crazy. All right. 4:25 Eastern on Fox at Shaving Cream Stadium in Foxborough. The 13-3 Patriots are 10.5-point home favorites versus 7-9 Miami, and the total is listed at 45.5. New England's already clinched the AFC East, and a win coupled with a San Diego win over Denver gets the Pats the AFC's top seed. Miami's playing for they're only playing for Coach Mike McDaniel's job, and they've won 4 out of 5. Cold weather and a really good Patriots team, though, has me on New England, laying the big number at home. 4:25 Eastern on Fox at SoFi Stadium in Inglewood. Always up to no good. Shout out Pocket Dre. The 11-5 Ram Chops are 7.5-point home favorites versus 3-13 Arizona. And the total set at 46.5. Crazy shit happened on Monday night with the Rams losing to the Falcons. If the 49ers beat Seattle on Saturday, this game won't matter because LA will be locked into the 6th seed and a trip to Philly next week against the defending Super Bowl champs. If Seattle beats SF, like I think they will, the Rams then head to either Carolina or Tampa Bay, but they have to win this game for that to happen. Like I said, I believe Seattle beats the Niners, so the Rams need this one to avoid a trip to Philly. Rams, even on a short week, are the play here. -7.5 because Zona is just awful. 4:25 Eastern on CBS at the Death Star in America's Playground. 6-10 Kansas City is a 5.5-point road favorite at the 2-14 Raiders, and the total is 36.5. 2 awful teams with nothing to play for. Chiefs fans, Raider fans, like my boy Mike, you should be embarrassed. Give me the Chiefs on the road, 5.5. 4:25 Eastern on CBS at Mile High in Denver. The 13-3 Broncos are 12.5-point home favorites versus 11-5 San Diego, and the total is 37.5. A win for Denver clinches the AFC's top seed, and the Chargers are already locked into the playoffs and are currently the 7th seed, but could be a 5 or a 6 depending on other games. Big number to lay here in a rivalry game, so I'm going to take the Chargers in the points. 4:25 Eastern on Fox at Soldier Field in Chicago. The 11-5 Bears are 2.5-point home chalk versus 8-8 Detroit, and the total's 50.5. A win for the Bears means they host the Packers next week in the wild card round, but a loss may mean that the Rams come to town. The Lions are a mess thanks to their coach, who's awful. Bears -2.5. Sunday, 4:25 Eastern. Highmark Stadium in Orchard Park. The 11-5 Bills are 7-point home favorites versus the 3-13 New Jersey Jets, and the total's 38.5. A win for the Bills means they go to either Pittsburgh or Baltimore next week, while the Jets are, well, they're the Jets. I mean, they're struggling. Hey, Joe.
Struggling.
Is that you, Joe? One more time.
Struggling.
Thanks, Joe. I really want to kiss you. Bills -7. Finally, after waiting all day for Sunday night just to catch a glimpse of Carrie Underwood's iconic legs, at 8:20 Eastern on NBC at the stadium formerly known as the Giant Ketchup Bottle in Steeltown, USA, 8-8 Baltimore is a 3.5-point road favorite at the 9-7 Steelers, and the total's 40.5. Win or go home. The winner of this game likely hosts the Bills next week, while the loser is pissed off. Tyler Huntley has been fine filling in for Lamar Jackson as the Ravens signal caller, but it sure helps when King Henry's being King Henry. It really does. The Steelers are a frustrating team to figure out, but somehow, some way, they've beaten Baltimore 9 of the last 11 times they met, including a win in the Charm City a month ago. Pittsburgh once again gets into the playoffs and loses in the first round. Stop me if you've heard this before. Steelers +3.5 with a sprinkle. That's it. That's all you get. 17 NFL plays to go along with 16 more college football plays added to the ones I already gave you. It's just nuts. Plus, we got daily hoop selections. Make sure to check out the comments section every single day. Right here in this video for daily college hoops, because they're just going to keep coming from now all the way till April. Also, keep your eye out for STONIECAST number 195, which will drop next Wednesday and will be the last Wednesday STONIECAST before I move them to Fridays. So until then, just remember, if you want to win big, you got to bet big. Good teams win, but great teams cover. You can't go broke taking a profit. Scared money don't make money. The less you bet, the more you lose when you win. Shout out Chris the Bear FALLICA. Now for me, the action is the juice. You tell him, Mikey.
But for me, the action is the juice.
I'm in. That's right, Mike. The difference between winning and making money is that anyone can win betting chalk, but you can't make money unless you take the dogs. God made life a gamble, and we're still in the game. Shout out to the late, great Joe Diffie. There's money on the streets that can't be ignored. And finally, good luck to you. Happy New Year to all my favorite scumbags and degenerates, and a special shout out to my girl Janelle that I can't wait to see tomorrow. I love you, sweetie. Something like that. If you remember. If you know, now you know. And as usual, I miss you, Gooch. My brother. You take care.
Pay him. Pay that man his money.